basically we're sitting at the hill of the White Apple Orchard, or at some point prior to getting to the position where you could see the night sky and all the fire is putting a sort of glow on it. And instead of proceeding in the battle, at that time you were attuned to Whelm.
Right.
And based on that attunement, whatever conversations you have with Whelm, you decided to leave and try to return this magic hammer northward to your homeland, which is a great distance away. I mean, it's literally on the other side of Neverwinter, where you started. You know, you're up in the old Silver Marches area. I guess you're generally from the areas of up in the mountains of the Ralvin Mountains, up near Citadel Felbar and Adbar.
Is that?
We'll say your main abode area is in the Ice Mountains. But anyway, we'll just say that that's sort of the area that you hail from, because you are a barbarian. So we're trying to put you in the most wildest area, which would be out in this area, further away from the Sword Coast, closer to Anarok. You know, these are definitely the fringe of the wilds.
Yep.
And close to giants.
Yep.
You know,
also close to orcs.
Yeah. So anyway, you're I guess traveling along the way through these fields, these wheat fields, and I'll say that you travel for a good 4 or 5 days through these fields hurriedly to get out of these plain areas. You're really unnerved, and then once you reach, you basically don't have any encounters. Although in your travels, you came across a village, not a village, and actually a farm, just a little farm area that out there away from Greenest, maybe a couple days away, a little farmstead, and it's just literally, you can smell the char in the air, and it's literally just burnt to the ground. There's a farmhouse, and it's about a day old, you can tell based on the smell, and it's literally burnt to the ground, and all the vegetation around it is sort of burnt too, like in circular patterns. So you come across this right before you reach the Corinthar River, which is a river that travels from Erebar to Burdusk all the way up to El Toro and Scornuble.
Okay.
And so you're walking across that, and you so you're about 50 yards away from this scene, just coming over a hill, looking down upon it, and you can see that there's some burning along the fields as well.
So there's burning along the fields, and there's burning in the farm.
The farm itself is burnt to the ground. There's nothing but cinder left, but you can see some old some wall structures left around.
Okay.
And they're still standing, but from where you're at, your perspective, you do a little survey of the area, and the farms around it, which are a pretty large sized fields. There's some burning in the fields as well, but not as large as the farm itself.
Okay.
It just looks like parts of the crop were burned up too.
Would I be able to, I guess, investigate the pattern of the burn?
Well,
because you said it was circular, right?
Yeah, from the way you're seeing it, it looks like it's rounded a little bit in certain areas. It's definitely spots.
Okay.
But not perfect circles or anything like that. It just
that's what I was thinking.
No, it's not perfect circles, but it's definitely like sort of has rounded marks where like it seems like most of the flame or whatever it was hit in a specific area and then spread around the perimeter, and
Okay.
eventually went out. Like it spread in a circular pattern as it spread.
Okay. Does it look like it streaks, or is it just like this one area where it's hit and then spread out?
Give me a perception roll.
Okay. I got a 12.
From this distance, you can't make out anything more than these black spots.
What time of day is it?
All right, so it's 8 p.m.
All right.
You've been traveling pretty hard, and you do need to rest. You're starting to get tired.
So I don't want to rest near this farm without at least checking it. From this distance, can I see anything moving about in the farm?
Give me a perception roll.
I got a 6.
You see nothing except for you hear crows.
Crows usually mean something dead is nearby. I'm gonna... True.
Crows mean they're enjoying the cornfield without people around.
Well, that just means you're gonna throw them scarecrows at me now.
Burn that scarecrow up.
How far is the farm from me? Like, how long would it take to get there?
About 50 yards.
All right.
I mean, you can just go there.
Yeah, I'm gonna head to the farm.
All right, you get a little closer, and it becomes obvious to you that, in fact, there are some streak marks leading up to this main blast area.
Okay.
And it's as if there was strips of fire leading towards these circles, these rounded, not circles, but these more rounded, patchy areas where the intensity of the flame was higher. But there is some spidering out,
Right.
as if a flame led to the direction of this patch, stopped for a minute, and then the fire increased, and you can see other streaks out leading out into the cornfields.
And do I know how long ago this fire was made?
Give me a survival roll.
18.
All right. About a day ago.
Okay.
Because there's no smoke.
And there are no actual, like, there are some, like, maybe like walls left, but there's no structures left?
No roof left, but there's some stone walls from the foundation of the main farmhouse.
Okay. So first I want to listen to see if I can hear anything around me. I got a 3 on that.
You don't hear anything except the crows.
And then I'm going to yell out.
And a breeze.
Okay. I'm going to yell out, if anyone's nearby, let me know now so I don't have to kill you later on.
It just sort of, your voice just sort of travels off into the distance, and and the crows sort of just stop crowing for a minute.
Okay. But then nothing happens after that?
Nope.
All right. In that case, I'm going to go to the farmhouse.
Uh-huh.
And even though there's no roof, I'm just going to make like my bedroll, like lay it out and shit, and
okay,
make a little campfire and at least bed down there. And then if something happens before I go to sleep, then, I'll be able to interact with that. But that's what his plan is, to sleep there.
Basically, as the night goes by, the temperature goes down,
mm-hmm.
and the next thing you know, a wind starts to pick up, and
is it like all of a sudden?
Yeah, the wind picks up, and you're startled for a minute, and you wake up, and you hear like something creaking, like a metal creaking.
Did I see any metal when I was like looking around the farm?
There was some old farming tools and stuff like that, like a plow that had maybe some metal chains on it, things like that. And there's a few doors hanging off of the old masonry, like burnt up, and things of that nature. Some shutters that were hanging off the masonry walls.
All right, so I get up and I let out a sigh, and I grab Bisbin, and I'm gonna like go to basically like I guess one of the corners of the wall, and then poke my head out and see if I can see anything.
All right, give me a perception roll.
16.
Okay. What you see is when you're peering your head around, right above you, you hear meow.
What's that?
And like a black cat just like jumps down from one of the masonry walls, and he was right near like a shutter, and jumps down onto the ground and like runs around the corner of the farmhouse, like you scared the, you know, you got too close to this cat and he ran.
All right. Do I still hear that metallic sound?
Give me a perception roll.
11.
It's good enough. Right where you're at, you notice that where you're looking around the corner where that cat jumped from, there was like a shutter hanging in a window frame that's creaking in the wind, and maybe the cat like was up there and just kind of creeped through that little window.
I'm gonna throw Bisbin at the shutter to knock it down.
Okay, it's smashed.
So I can get some goddamn sleep. I
All
try to
right.
break it. I don't hear anything else.
Now the rest of the night passes uneventfully.
Okay.
And you wake up the next morning, and it is a chilly morning, and there's sun breaks out, and it's still chilly, but there's no precipitation when you wake up. Just a nice breeze. And so there you are. You wake up well rested. Nothing really happened. You rested in burnout farmhouse, and there was an uneventful night.
Well, I at least know that because I was with the party long enough to know that they were going to hunt dragons. So I'm just going to assume that that's what came through here. I don't know what kind. I mean, I'm assuming some kind of red dragon, fire. But I mean, I guess it could have been electric. I'm gonna head off.
You head out?
Yep.
All right. So once again, you head up about half a day. You reach the river. You find a area where you can pass over the river pretty easily by crossing on little islands and rocks on a shallow area that's looks like it might be dammed off further upstream.
Okay.
Nobody's there, and you reach the other side of the riverbank, and as you're approaching the Sunset Mountains, which are just to the west or just to the east of Greenest.
Okay.
About not a full 10-day, but as you start to travel that way, you start to feel a little more relaxed because you see this pretty big mountain range starting to get larger on the horizon as you're walking. And give me a perception check.
I got a 1.
Okay. So you travel for another half day, and basically you reach the hills, the low foothills of the mountain range. And at that point, give me another perception check.
All right. Am I traveling north?
Huh? You're traveling northeast because you're trying to reach the mountain ranges, so you feel more at home.
Okay. All right. So that one was a 17.
Okay. So in the foothills, what you notice is you see tracks, and you're especially picked up on this because you're well trained in tracking giants.
Okay.
And what you notice is these tracks leading up into some hills, between two hills, clearly giant kind tracks leading up into these hills. You also see, you rolled a 17, right?
Yep.
You also notice that it seems like the tracks are heavier than normal, like they've been laden down with something, maybe carrying some heavy weight. Looks like something was being dragged, maybe wheel carts, like big heavy wheel carts.
Yeah.
And you also notice that roll a 17. You also see that there's smaller footprints sort of walking in a straight line along these larger prints of giants heading into the hills.
Do I see like any drag marks with them? Maybe by like a cart or like a wheelbarrow?
Yeah, you definitely see that there was a wagon or a cart, more than one, that was being dragged and forced over the hills. Something very large wheels, like giant-sized wheels.
All right. Well, immediately my blood starts to go into a boil. I'm gonna follow those tracks. I actually forgot about I have Polk, so I'm gonna tell Polk to watch the tracks with me to make sure I don't lose the trail.
Okay.
And I'm gonna follow that like a hawk.
All right. Well, so you travel up in between these two hills, and as you approach, you see that the two hills opens up into a clearing. And in the clearing, you can see like a large evidence of a campfire, but not one that's being in use. Like there was a campfire there, very large. And so that's just between these two hills, and it opens up into sort of like a oval opening, and there's like these large stones set up in a circle, pieces of wood lying around, and you can see that like someone had cleared away like these big trees and pushed them to the side, but the fire has been put out, and it's not an active campfire.
Does the campsite look?
The tracks look right into the opening.
Okay. Does it look at all like the campsite that Krusk and I and Dolan came across when we were heading down towards Green Nest?
Very similar setup.
Okay. The tracks, do I see them go off in another direction, or do they lead here and stop?
Well, from this vantage point, between the hills, just looking down, you can't tell.
Okay. And about what time of day is it? Like I've been traveling for a while now, right?
Traveled, I guess, well, we'll say you got up at 7, and you traveled for another half of the day. Like just say you traveled for a day's travel is, you can travel up to, I think, 8 hours. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so about 4 hours went by until you reached this particular area. And so it's still, I guess it's about high noon.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna. So even though I know that the campsite is inactive for the most part, I'm still gonna draw my weapons and then kind of go down there cautiously.
Okay.
And kind of investigate the campsite, like see what they maybe left around.
Give me a stealth roll.
All right. I got a 20. Not a natural 20 though.
Okay. So you and Polk move in silently.
Mm-hmm.
Barely make them. You make absolutely no noise at all.
Good.
Even with your big spiked armor. Which I think you should get
Oh, wait,
disadvantage.
no, I was about to say I have disadvantage. Hold on. All right, actually, it was an 11 then.
Make a little noise, but you don't hear anything. Make your way into the clearing. You notice in the clearing, there's what appears to be tiny little bones in there, some larger bones, pieces of charred wood, and just to the side, like sitting on a large log, there seems to be like some kind of cloth lying across it, like some tan or reddish colored cloth.
Okay.
You see a path, fairly wide path, about 10 feet wide, that goes up through a ravine. It's like a 10-foot wide gorge or ravine path, has lots of rocks and boulders in it, and it leads up into the mountains.
Okay.
Well, I'll say further up into the foothills.
I want to look at this cloth or this skin that was draped over. I'm assuming a log or something was draped over.
Where you get a little closer, and you notice it's not cloth at all. It appears to be some kind of skin.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Would there be any way I could tell at least the size of the creature that it came from?
Size of what?
Size of the creature that it came from?
Give me an investigation roll.
All right. I got a 3.
No, but it's definitely humanish.
Okay. And you said it was yellow?
I mean, it could be an orc, could be a halfling, could be a human.
Okay.
Just not sure.
All right. I'm going to leave that there. I have no use of it. But I am going to follow the path up to the ravine where the trail went.
All right.
Actually, before I go, I want to poke around in the fire pit to see if there's anything in there except for just wood and cinder.
All right. Give me another investigation roll.
Well, I got a 5 that time.
Lots of bones.
Damn. Okay.
Lots of small bones.
Okay. All right, then yeah, I'll head up the path.
Give me a perception roll.
15.
I mean, looking at the bones, you see some what appear to be bite marks, like someone was chewing on them.
Yeah.
And beneath the cinders, you see the sun reflect off something metallic.
I will. I'm just gonna grab at it.
All right, you grab at it. You pull out a pair of cracked spectacles, real tiny glasses.
I'm gonna going to keep those.
Okay. Like little round reading glasses or something?
Yeah.
All right, so where you going now?
I'm going to follow up that the path that went up the ravine into the foothills.
Okay. You're traveling up through this ravine. It's rough terrain. You don't see any, actually halfway up the ravine, you can see it like a couple, maybe 200-300 yards ahead. Trees start to get larger.
Okay.
The path still remains the same width, but the gorge, so to speak, starts to get more shallow as you go up. So it's sort of like as you go up the hillside, it starts to even off with the hill itself.
Mm-hmm.
And about halfway up ahead, you see what appears to be a whole bunch of round wagon wheels thrown to the side of the gorge.
Are they about the same width of the at least some of the tracks that I've been seeing?
Yeah.
Okay. And does the path keep going? At least the tracks, do they keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the main thing. Can I look at the wagon wheels? Like, are they broken or?
It looks like 2 or 3 of them are broken.
Okay.
And then what you see is the tracks no longer have any evidence of wheels or ruts or anything.
Okay.
Some of it's like they just took the wheels off, and whatever it was they were carrying, they're now carrying them on their backs or something.
Which makes me think these must be fairly large giants and not just hill giants. All right, well, I'm definitely going to be a little bit more cautious now. Is there any way I could tell how long ago they abandoned those wheels?
What's that?
Is there any way I could tell how long ago they abandoned the wheels?
Give me a survival roll.
Okay. I got a 18.
They're fairly recent.
Okay.
Within a day.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, yeah, I'm definitely going to be more like on guard. And then walk. I'm not going to try and stealth. He's not good at that. But just like, weapons at the ready. I'm going to have...
You might as well give me a stealth roll.
Okay. Oh, well, shit. I got a 21 on a disadvantage.
Yeah, see?
He's a seasoned warrior and didn't even know it.
No hurt in trying.
Yeah. But I do have, so I have the shield and Visbin out. So it might make my AC up to 19.
Okay. All right, so you're traveling up past these remnants of these wagons. Every now and then you see the footprint of a giant.
Mm-hmm.
Give me another survival roll.
Got a 17.
You notice that the tracks head both directions now.
Damn.
Like you see that there's clearly traffic going in both directions, giants.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a main trafficy area.
Is there any way I could tell which one were most recent?
The one's headed in.
Okay.
The usage shows that, you know, when they're coming down the hill, they're sort of taking a certain course through the rocks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows use going that way.
Okay.
But the most recent disturbance in the rubble and the dirt and the ground is what you think is these giants that you've been tracking.
Okay. Yeah, I'll follow that path. Do they still look like they're like weighted down? I'm assuming even more so since the cart broke.
Give me another perception roll.
Perception. 15.
What you notice is they're taking shorter steps from that point on. In other words, their gait is not as long as usual.
All right. If I can catch them, I don't know where they went, but I might be able to get them while they're dealing with this shit. So I'm gonna kind of pick up the pace. Have I been able to tell how many giants?
More than 3.
More than 3. Okay.
Well, give me another perception roll.
Yep. Nope. I got a 1.
All right. More than 3.
All right. Yeah. Fuck it. He's. I mean, this is fucking Warthog. He's just gonna rush in. So yeah, he picks up the pace and starts running up.
All right. As you're running up, before you reach the hill, you clearly sense the smell of wood burning, like fire burning.
Okay.
And as you reach the sort of the apex of the path that opens up at this rise, you're like, you stop and you're stunned, because what you see at the top of the hill is this gigantic wooden structure made out of like trees.
Mm-hmm.
It's like literally like a gigantic log cabin.
Right.
The thing is easily like, let me see. Easily 1,000 feet wide, and close to, you know, let's say 60 to 80 feet high.
Okay.
It looks like it's a structure that looks like it has one main large wood cabin type building. It has several like smaller structures around it.
Mm-hmm.
The path, it seems, leads down into a clearing where this thing exists, and you can see smoke coming off of the top of it in different areas.
Like it's on fire?
No, like it's coming out of chimneys or something. Like it definitely smells like fireplace type smell, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And around the back of it, you can see that it looks like there's some kind of compound, like there's fencing easily like 20 to 30 feet high. The logs themselves that are used, you can, from this distance, you can just basically make out that it's just made of huge pieces of timber. The logs themselves look like they're at least 3 feet in diameter. There's a doorway that looks like it is at the end of the path. You can see like what appears to be some kind of outline of a doorway at the end of the path that goes into this clearing. It's like a gravel path, and all around the structure is like just dirt and patches of grass like it's been stomped down.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of this path, it looks like it leads into a door, and that door looks like it's about 7 feet wide and about 9 feet tall.
Okay.
Maybe larger. And right on the top of that entryway, there is a looks like a tower, a wooden tower with a pointy top, like a house-type rooftop. Looks like it has an opening all around the top. Clearly, looks like it's some kind of lookout tower,
mm-hmm.
and has large openings all around it. And from your vantage point, it appears as though that one door leading into this side room, this side structure of the main housing unit, looks as though the only way in. It's like this one main door that leads into this sort of small, like say it's like an addition to this gigantic 1,000-foot wide structure that towers like hundreds of feet in the air. And it's sort of like built up in tiers. It almost looks like a 3-level pyramid made out of wood.
Mm-hmm.
And in the backdrop, you can see this plush pine forest with gigantic trees. And there's certain areas where you see it looks like the trees were like cleared out.
Yeah.
And beyond that, the sunset mountains rise into the air.